Hey, hey, hey. This is part two, I suppose. Um, Let me know if you can hear me on this video. But I want to do the continuation of getting through this article where we're learning about Coinbase and what they're doing in terms of their job offers. So I want to hear some more of these stories. If you listen to my first part, we had some audio issues once I started talking about the economy and whatnot. So let me know if you can hear me now and if the audio is okay. Hey, cool gamer, welcome back. Hey, swoop like me. Let me get into my PC too. That might have been causing some trouble. Hey, Teddy, we're back. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me this time? Because otherwise, this is the other option. I can use my mic, but you got to let me know if I need to try that one out. If I'm still sounding like a robot, like what is going on? Like I need to know. I gotta know. I'm gonna try to move back a little bit. Maybe I'm close to the too close to the mic or something. I don't know. I have the AirPods in now. Okay, loud and clear. What? Okay, so maybe I just can't talk about the economy because when I hear robotic, I sound robotic. That makes me think maybe that's more on the YouTube end. I don't know, or the connection, internet connection. I'm not sure. But I'm glad you all can hear me now. So let's get back into the article. Now I have to refind it. But Coinbase is, again, a company I would love to see win, but there's always something going on with them. I don't get it. But this article from Wired, let's go through it. I won't show it on my screen this time, I guess. I'll just talk through it because I don't want the audio to go bad. And I can't stay on here too much longer because I got to get some food. I haven't eaten today. So, all right. So let's see. The last folks we were talking about, so we looked at a couple of different employees that were going through it because they had an offer. One person moved to Ohio to be with their girlfriend because they had gotten this great job opportunity. Now, what do? Right? Let's look at how Coinbase has responded in some of the other issues. And I talked about the immigration on the last video. That is a big issue because someone that needs a certain visa, well, they're depending on the company and working with that company for them to stay in the country. So that's a whole nother issue of concern. So one person we were just talking about, oh my gosh, this is terrible. So this is the person, Ushatosh Uki, who had accepted the offer to work at Coinbase in March, and he applied to PhD programs but wanted to work for the cryptocurrency startup. It felt like a one of a kind opportunity. And so he moved to Dayton, Ohio to be close to his girlfriend. He's got this new job, whatever. When the startup retracted its offer last week, Yuki started panicking. He has lived in the United States since he was 8 years old, but does not have a green card. Instead, he has a STEM OPT visa. So science, technology, engineering. I don't know if that last one stands for medical or mechanical. I can't remember, but basically in the tech space. They're hard to fill positions, basically, or the hard to fill areas. The jobs that folks don't typically do. We need people. So he's a STEM OPT visa, an extension of a student visa from STEM students that only affords him a few months of employment. He says recruiters have started reaching out. I'm sure they are. Like, there are other companies, even though the startups are struggling, there are other bigger companies that are like, oh, come on over here. Come on over. We got you. We got something just for you. So I don't want folks in tech, I don't want people to think tech is dying. No, companies are doing a lot. Automation, data science, they're trying to get these robots to replace our jobs, basically. And there's a lot going on. They're trying to ramp up data. There's so much data to be used and to be protected. Cybersecurity concerns are growing. we still need tech folks. We need people are creating applications. We need engineers. Like, we still need y'all. It's just that, again, like I said in another video, everyone's been overspending. Everyone's been kind of inflated. Everyone's been in this bubble and frenzy. So they're bringing it back down to reality. That's my take on it as a recruiter. Getting back to this person, he says recruiters have started reaching out, but he's not sure he'll be able to stay in Dayton with a job that is fully remote. Because yes, he just moved because he thought he was going to have this remote, this flexible remote job. I have no idea where I'm going to be a couple of months from now. So he's kind of uprooted his life and now he doesn't have the job. Real people. Duraswamy, a software development manager, has an H-1B visa, which is common among foreign tech workers. Yes, very, very common. You guys know I've been a tech recruiter, and very common, yes. The visa allows them just 60 days of unemployment. 60 days. Now, the standard in a typical market for people to find a new job is somewhere between 3 months to 6 months. This is typical time frames of when someone, if you don't have a job, you're looking for a new job, to get through applications, go through job screenings, get turned down, get offers. You have to go through the process. Some processes are longer than others, right? And you're not going to get every job you apply to, of course. So typically 3 to 6 months. He's saying he has 2 months, basically 60 days. I am not too worried. He's in tech. He wouldn't be too worried, I would assume. I'm not too worried about my job prospects, but I am cautious as I am still in a long line of waiting for my green card, says Duraswamy, who left a job at Amazon. You left Amazon? You should have stayed at Amazon. To join Coinbase. I hate to say that, who knows why this person may have left Amazon. There's so many reasons people leave jobs. Sometimes it's just time. You want to try something new, whatever. It doesn't really matter why you want to leave. It's just a choice that you make. So it's really sad though. At least three other rescinded job offers have affected people on immigrant visas, according to public posts on LinkedIn. So public posts meaning people like this person sharing what happened to them. There's plenty of people that won't share publicly what happened. Startups are by definition risky businesses. It's a risk, but this is why they pay more, because they know it's a risk. It's exciting, right? Amazon was once a startup. All the big companies today, they were once a startup. So I don't want this video to seem like I'm against startup companies. I think this is very exciting. It's, there's something about working at a startup, right? But it can be a little riskier, but I think every industry, every company, any job is going to be risky. Entrepreneurship is risky. We're just in this market where it's like, you kind of feel like there's nothing really quote unquote safe. That's how I feel. I'm a millennial though, we've been through it. We've been through it the most. I feel like we've been through it the most. Younger millennials, older millennials, it does not matter. We have been through it. Anyway, getting back to this. Well, let me check out the comments. Let me see what you guys are saying. I'm afraid to go back in the StreamYard. If it starts sounding wonky and I start sounding robotic, let me know, because I'll know that was the issue. So let's see. Okay, I'm loud and clear. Okay. In math. Oh, math. Okay. Let me know if you can still hear me. But yes, the other one is math. Right. Okay. Okay, let's get through this article so I can get some food. I want the food. Okay. So startups they're saying by definition, risky business. Most of them fail. True. Leaving employees with little to no recourse. Companies aren't even required to give severance pay in most states. That's true for any company, though. Still, several of the people who accepted jobs. So this is where I want to get into. What did Coinbase do? How did they react to the scenario that they are in, right? That they are rescinding job offers. Coinbase said, okay. So still several of the people who accepted job offers at Coinbase said they did so because the startup seemed to have reached a level of maturity, which I I was thinking the same. It debuted on the public market in 2021 and reached a staggering valuation of $86 billion because Bitcoin was up, of course. Coinbase was in hyper growth mode and things seemed promising, especially when many people signed their job offers earlier this spring. We were in a different market this spring. Since then, volatility in the market, in the public markets, combined with the rising interest rates, inflation, war, and an increasing dour mood among investors, has led startups to slam the brakes, which is what we're seeing. The priority has shifted from rapid growth to profitability. And what did I say in the other video? Investors are like, you're not profitable, you're not making profits, I want to see the profits. And so now, investors are pulling out. What more can a startup do, because they're not profitable? They're depending on their valuations, they're depending on the investors that see those valuations, they're really depending on that and the potential, their growth potential. If I were to buy a startup company, like if I were to buy stock in Coinbase, I'm not buying the stock because I'm getting dividends because the company's just reining in the profits. I'm buying them because I foresee a future for them and I want to be invested long term to see them grow and reap the benefits of that growth, meaning higher stock price, potential dividends in the future, etc. Anyway, so besides the broader market conditions, oh, wait a second. So they're saying dozens of startups have had major layoffs in the hopes of extending their runway until investors give them more cash. What did I just say? They're dependent on investors. Larger companies like Meta and Twitter have issued hiring freezes. I have seen that. Twitter has rescinded some job offers as well. So I didn't know about Twitter rescinding job offers. So we have to put them we really have to look at Twitter. Like, come on. They're a long-standing company. I would perceive them as being a company that would evaluate their job offers. But based on Wire's article here, Twitter has also rescinded some job offers as well. Again, my question is still there. What do you think you would do in that situation? You're ready to start this new job. You packed up and moved to a new city. You're about to start next week. And they say, actually, we actually, no, we're not gonna do that. We got to take that back, actually. So no, no, you're not starting with us next week. Like, what would you do in that situation? That's wild. Besides the broader market conditions, Coinbase has also been affected by the recent carnage in crypto markets. Yes, we've been feeling it. And as a public company, it has to appease its shareholders. We talked about that, who learned in May that revenue had fallen considerably from the previous year. The stock is now down 70% since its IPO last year. We always knew, in quotes, we always knew crypto would be volatile, but that volatility alongside larger economic factors may test the company and us personally in new ways, wrote LJ Brock, Coinbase's chief people officer, head of HR, in a blog post about the company's hiring update. Brock added that retracting job offers was not a decision the company took lightly. Well, I would hope not. But it's necessary to ensure we are only growing in the highest priority areas. Coinbase declined to comment beyond Brock's post. Coinbase offered its former would-be employees severance packages. So those employees, would-be employees that they extended offers to, they gave them severance packages. Let's see what there's more details on that. These range from 2 to 3 months at full pay, depending on their start date. It also gave them access to a talent hub where they could add their name and resume for recruiters at other tech companies. So far, 325 people have taken them up on it. I can verify that as a fact that they have done that. As a recruiter, I know that they've done that. I do like, okay, that they've taken some steps. They didn't just say, we're sending your job offer and that's it. They are paying severance. Companies are not required to do that. So I do like that they are providing severance pay to them. So that's basically when a company is paying severance, they're paying you whatever your salary, your given pay was going to be for a period of time. Now, what I am interested in knowing too, as a part of their severance packages, is if they're also providing benefits to the employees, like health, medical, dental benefits and all that stuff, because that's important too. Like when you leave a company, you are also ending your benefits. So, with the idea that you're going to be taking on new benefits at a new company, like for folks that are not just jumping out of school, that's typically really important as well. If you have children, if you have a spouse that's dependent on your benefits, that sort of thing, that's important too. So, I hope they're doing that. Mayer added his name to the list last week, and has resigned himself to the drudgery of interviewing for new tech jobs. Like, to imagine you went through interviews, you did this whole process, you finally got the job offer in hand, you're excited, only to be rescinded the offer and you have to go through this process all over again. Because I know whenever you've gone through a job search process, once it's over, you're just like, finally, you don't really have to do that anymore. Now, for me, I do think for myself at least, and I've gotten the feedback from mentors to always be in a place where you're looking, like you're available for something else. If there was something that was great that you liked, or if the company you joined you would still be in a position where you can make a move if you needed to. I do think we as people have to think that way because we're just in a different environment. We're not in the baby boomer environment, what they had. They had this kind of scenario where you're getting pensions and you're kind of seen as, you're going to be at a company long term. It just was a completely different environment, not like today. Anyway, so Mayher said he had signed his Coinbase offer back in March, a few months before graduating from UC Berkeley with a degree in computer science. He says that the decision to rescind job offers in June would likely affect a disproportionate number of graduates like him who chose start dates soon after getting their diploma. Mayher says he understands that relatively inexperienced hires can be expensive and take time to learn the ropes, but all of this would have been solved with better planning. This is coming from someone just getting out of school. They're like, this could have been solved with better planning. Yeah, you think? Exactly. It seems like they prioritize growing fast over resilience, right? Not thinking long term, just we need y'all right now. Oh, actually, we didn't think about if this were to happen, what would we do? It's just, again, I really feel like sometimes folks just don't care about just regular people, or we're looking at a person just seeing what is the gain of this. And as myself as a recruiter, there are times where I have told people, you're in a good spot, like I don't think I don't think this is the right position for you. But there are other people they will just go with it and say, yeah, just join the company, whatever, I don't care about your scenario, whatever, just join because I need you to. And I yeah, I feel like that's not right. I just feel like that's not right. Hey, Code with Samuel. Hi, how are you? Hey, Daniel. Hi, Pow Pow. Oh, hey, Pow Pow. What's up? I'm always surprised when I see Pow Pow because I know we're on a big time difference. So, hey, Pow Pow. Chief People Officer. Right. So, this is basically so the C-suite. This is a way to get HR as a part of the C-suite. So this is someone that is leading an entire talent and development or human resources. There's so many different creative names. They call titles differently now. Even CEOs are trying to be creative with their titles, like with the CEO of Block. He's the Block head. That's what he calls himself. The CEO of Block, or some of you might know it as Square before Cash App is the company, their parent company. Tesla's CEO, Elon Musk, I think he changed his title as well. It's not CEO, it's something else that's a little more creative. Anyway, but yes, Chief People Officer. People be peopling. You gotta Need a chief people officer for that. But no, they really are. I think that's great to have HR as a part of the business conversations and because people are the business for companies. You can't run without people unless you have robots. I hate to say it, I have this vision of like literally what we see on certain shows, like Humans, where the robots are literally doing everything and we're just like here. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing because I do think people we need purpose ourselves. So if robots are doing everything for us, will we just be more creative and do whatever we want to do? I don't know. Hey, Coach Samuel. I see y'all saying hi to each other. Hi, Simplistically Digital. Hey, so for my techies out there, Simplistically Digital, she does a lot of educational things on her channel. Point that out there. And Edward Smart, my moderator and member, he is into aviation. So if you're into that, what's good, SD? I was like, I didn't know what you were talking about. And you were greeting Simplistically Digital. I always want to call you by your old name. So what do y'all think about this? Before I close things out, I want to say that might be the end of the article. Let me just check and see. Yeah, those were the last words of this article. All this would have been solved with better planning. It seems like they prioritize growing fast over resilience. It's literally from Maher, who graduated from UC Berkeley and was going to start a job, but it got rescinded by Coinbase. So there's so many articles. Fortune had an article about it, the great tech job offer take back, what to do if you're next. Let me look at this one for a second. I do want to see what they say. So they have this title up here. They're saying in February 2020, Bonnie Kate Wolf quit her senior brand designer job at Open Table for a new role at Thumbtack. But 2 weeks later, the gig work platform rescinded the offer. Here's another one. Open Table, you know, Open Table, you want to make a reservation somewhere, you don't want to call the restaurant, you just want to do it online. I'm like that. I don't want to call the restaurant, I just do it online. But yeah, so she left Open Table and went to Thumbtack, a startup. Naturally, Wolf was upset when an offer is rescinded. You've already quit your last job. That is the key thing. Now, this is different if you extended an offer and the person hasn't accepted yet. But even if a person hasn't accepted yet, there are some people that will put in their notice before officially accepting their new offer. Now, what I've told people to do when I am, because people will ask the recruiter, I've been asked the question like, when should I give notice? I typically have told people, depending on where I'm working, if I know the background, like we do background checks, I'm like, look, we're going to give you 3 weeks, to start, 4 weeks to start. I would imagine you would want to wait. If I were in your shoes, I would wait until I got the background check cleared. That's just my opinion. If you're comfortable, giving your notice ahead of time, that's fine, but we can work through start dates. I always tell candidates we can work through start dates. What you need, if you got to be a little more flexible, let's do that. But I have never told anyone to just go ahead and put in your notice before getting their offer in hand, like an actual letter. So it's kind of tricky. I get it. But for the folks that are like, hey, I'm starting a job next week, well, of course you've already put in your notice. You're starting next week. You have to, most people are going to do their due diligence and give at least a 2-week notice to their current company just out of being polite. Not everyone does that, but most professionals will do it. So she said, this article, Fortune, is saying Wolf was upset. When an offer is rescinded, you've already quit your last job, she tells Fortune. Now you don't have anything else lined up. Exactly. And I'm like, are you starters considering that? They're leaving oftentimes a long-standing company, a solid job for something new in an offer that they don't think is going to be rescinded. They think they're going to start a job. They think that, signing the job offer is legally binding. But again, like I said in the other video, when you're signing a job offer, it's at will. So the employee or the employer can terminate the, employment. It of course looks badly, but it's not legally binding in that way. Most offers, right? Most companies are more at will. You may have some that aren't, but more and more of them are. So, okay. In recent weeks, countless tech workers have found themselves in Wolf's position, discovering a dream job is too good to be true. Redfin, Twitter, and most recently Coinbase have all rescinded job offers. That's what this article by Fortune is saying. I will put the articles in the about section after this one posts, and on the before, the one I had to shut down early. In June 2nd, memo, Coinbase Chief People Officer Brock stated current market conditions and ongoing business prioritization efforts as the reasons behind the cryptocurrency exchange's wave of pulled offers. The ripple effect was instantaneous as would-be workers flooded LinkedIn with announcements that their job had suddenly evaporated and that they were back on the hunt. Again, like after you do a job search, you're like, you want to breathe, you want to relax, you want to celebrate. They can't even do that. Crypto jobs seem to be the role, I don't know what that means actually, role du jour, that's on shaky ground, considering how volatile the digital currency market has become in recent weeks. But talks of an impending recession have companies across a variety of industries and sectors nervous about their hiring plans. Any one of them can yank an offer no matter how solid they appear. So what should you do if your job offer is rescinded? Regardless of your field, having a tentative plan for how you'd respond is critical. I definitely agree right now. The first thing they're going to talk about right here is they're saying don't even bother suing. This is going to get into probably what I just talked about. Arguably, the biggest challenge with a rescinded offer is that most workers, like Wolf, have already quit their old job or even made relocation plans or already relocated. But opportunities for financial recourse from a would-be employer are slim. People with rescinded job offers who tried to argue they're contractually entitled to the job aren't typically successful, says Eddie Eisler, a labor and employment lawyer in Vienna, Virginia. To successfully sue, they would have to prove that the company either knew or should have known that it wouldn't be able to fulfill the job offer. That's a very hard case to make, Eisler says, because most employers wouldn't extend an offer if they even suspected they'd have to back out of it. That should be the case, that most companies would not extend an offer if they thought they were going to rescind it. In most cases, Eisler doesn't recommend taking any legal action at all. Litigation is hard and threatening. A potential employer is generally a bad way to start your career, he says, adding that there's always a chance that things could turn around for the company and they could re-offer you the job. If I've been burned once, I don't know if I would want to be burned again or take the risk of that. For the company, they could re-offer you a job, something they'd be unlikely to do if you threatened them. What do you all think about that? What do y'all think about that? Like, would you be like, yeah, I'm going to try this again? Like, realistically, would you be like, yeah, I'm going to, let's do this. I mean, you burned me that one time, but you know what? I trust you. I'm going to trust you this time. I think it would be really difficult, even if it was a good company, I don't know. I don't know about that, y'all. Putting myself in those, like, in that mindset, I don't think I would. So they're saying litigation is not even, it doesn't even make sense. But they wouldn't re-offer your job if you threatened them. What they're saying to do in this Fortune magazine, right? They're saying applicants should always acknowledge a rescinded offer with respect, giving the finger as you walk out the door is just a terrible idea. It's a small world, people talk. I do agree with that. And it's something that I've said on this channel in terms of how you treat your prior employer, how you talk about past employers. Even if you're interviewing and you were in a terrible workplace, right? During your interviews, I always say, don't bash the company. Don't bash the company. Now, you can be honest and say, it wasn't a good workplace for me because of this reason, right? And leave it at that. But folks that go on and on, it puts the thought in the head of your potential employer that, it gives a question of, what is their character like for them to go on and on about this place, and are they going to do the same thing with us if they don't like it, and was it really that bad? It just puts a lot of questions. It could be really that bad, but it's kind of like with gossip, like when someone's saying bad stuff about someone, it doesn't really make that other person always look bad. It makes the person saying the bad things look bad, if you get what I'm saying there. So they're saying to keep up appearances. It's normal to be angry and frustrated, says Vicky Salemi, a career expert at job site Monster. Monster. Who is using Monster? Anyway, she warns against bad mouthing a company that has withdrawn an offer, even if doing so would score social media points. Remember that person, y'all, that posted on TikTok about them living in their office, and they were it seemed like to us that they might have been just doing it for clout, trying to get, social media popularity. But what happens if they don't, whatever goals they were aiming for doesn't even happen? Well, that person ended up out of a job because they wanted to share that they were living in their workspace. Anyway, so that was the representative from Monster. I don't know if people are still using Monster, but interesting. So it's crazy. Let me look at some comments real quick because I see people in here. Hey, Real Brother says a lot would depend on the level of severance. I agree with that. Exactly. Ever won't catch me out here with $0 if nothing else. You have money. You definitely need to have savings. If you're going to be moving from one job to another, if you're on the job search, any of that, definitely want to have savings, especially now. I think there was a video where we talked about that. Remember? We gotta up the savings. Okay, let me see. Y'all are talking to each other. Y'all talking to each other here. I think a robot will be my caregiver when I'm old. I actually agree with that. I think that's where we're headed. I really do. I'm not even playing. I really think we're headed that way. Have to make sure my benefits are covered before I feel it's a done deal, contract in hand. Is it normal to feel more comfortable talking via email? I get super anxious when somebody asks if they can give me a call. I never leave my number and resume, only email. Oh, Michael. I remember you, Michael. Okay. So there are introverts, there are extroverts, there are people that like talking to other people, there are people that don't like talking to other people. But in this world today, to get a job, to get promotions, to get various opportunities, business opportunities, whatever you're trying to do in life, you have to be able to communicate with people and not just via email. I think you should be able to communicate well and get your point across via messenger and email, because that's how a lot of us communicate at work. But in terms of finding a job, in terms of really building good relationships with people, you have to communicate. It does not mean you have to be extremely talkative, but you do need to be able to have a conversation on the phone. So, Michael, if you're in a place where you're saying, listen, I'm not really comfortable talking on the phone, I just do email, you need to start taking some steps to talk to people more and get more comfortable with talking to people. Because if you're uncomfortable, it is going to show through as you're interviewing, and you may find more challenge with finding a job. I'm being very open and honest about that. Now, there's certain workplaces that are going to be easier to get into for you, and there's going to be other workplaces that are going to be more difficult. For example, if you're trying to get into a creative agency, a public relations agency, depending on the environment, they're likely going to have more extroverted personalities and people and really respect that, versus some other companies, maybe in the tech space, finance, like other industries where there are more people that would likely be a bit more introverted. um, so just think about that, but I definitely feel like you should get more comfortable talking with people. Let me know if that helps. Let me know if you have other questions. Michael, I prefer talking on the phone myself, simplicity digital. Yeah, I prefer talking to people directly, eyeball to eyeball, face to face, but the next best thing would be a video or, on the phone. I feel like for me, communication gets just gets yeah, I'll go with that. Misrepresented. You can misrepresent yourself because of a message, how the other person, looking at the words that you have typed and sent, how they read through that. That's my view. Let me get through some of this. I have a fat savings before leaving a job and a side hustle to keep you afloat. Amen to that. I agree. I prefer email. Yeah, I listen, Michael. You might have to get a little more comfortable. King Kill says I'm not threatening anyone. I agree. I listen. Litigation takes a lot of money and time, so that's tough. That is very tough. But I could see why people would go, listen, you put me in this terrible position, especially depending on what's going on in their life and what they did to move forward with that job. Okay, I'm going to go back into what they're talking about in here. Okay, so this is what the person from Monster is saying. So let me. Your resume is most likely 100% polished because you recently interviewed. True. She says your interview skills are sharp. True, they should be sharp because you've just been through interview processes. You're fresh. You ready to talk about yourself. You're ready to highlight your skills. You're in that mode, right? Plus, when you get started again, you can be honest about the situation. You can be honest about the situation. Take screenshots, pull up articles just in case the recruiter, for some reason, doesn't know what's going on in this space. You can refer to it and say, this is what's going on. Drive a conversation on LinkedIn. Be open about what happened. I would agree, don't be salty about it. Don't publicly be salty. If you want to vent to your friends and family, but don't vent like online. Just because, again, it will make you look bad ultimately. Even though I think a lot of people will be able to get where you're coming from, but when we do stuff like that, it makes the person look bad. So, yes. Yay, the sun is like not directly in my face. It's like perfect right now. It's just a little bit of nice lighting. So what else is she saying in here? Be honest about the situation. Most hiring managers will be hugely sympathetic to a mass rescinding situation, she says, including potentially the job the applicant just left. I agree. The only thing is, yeah, I think if you leave a job on good terms, they'll be happy to, welcome you back. But here's the thing that they may be thinking about. They may be thinking about, why did you decide to leave? Are you going to leave again? Are you not happy there? What was the reasoning? So you may need to talk through some things like that, right? And sometimes they may have already made plans and figured out a situation to have someone else take your job internally. They could have made a hire. Likely they wouldn't have made a hire that quickly to replace you, but that is an option. If you had a good relationship with your prior employer, your manager, and all that good stuff, they would understand. And it's not uncommon for people to go back to an old employer. You may work at a place, you like it, but you want to see what else is out there, and you leave and you're like, oh, this is terrible. They go back to, it's not uncommon for people to bounce back to a job that they've taken before. I've seen plenty of people do that. I'm trying to think if I've done that before. Technically, I've taken a break from a job and then came back. But I haven't went to another job and then just came back to the other one. So haven't experienced that personally, but I know people that have. This is another thing that they're saying. Always be professional and circle back. You could even be empowered to return to your old employer and ask for better pay or benefits. Okay, let me be realistic about this scenario. If you're asking to come back, I don't know if the employer would likely be as inclined to increase your pay and get give you better benefits. I'm just going to be real honest about that. I don't see it most places because now you're coming back to them after leaving, right? So I'm not sure about that. I'll just put that out there. But if you're going to a new company, likely yes. So the other point they're making is to rethink your career path. Anytime something traumatic like this happens, most people are going to take the time to rethink their career. Do you really want to do this? Do you really want to work in this space? Do you really want to work at a startup? Because things like this could happen, right? So, yeah, let me see what they're saying in here though. Rethink your career path. Also on the table, using the shocking disappointment of losing an opportunity as a jumping off point for an entirely new path. So let me suggest taking it as a sign to pursue a dream job in another area or getting a side hustle, even if it's temporary. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. I think most people will be like, oh, let me do something real quick so I can bring in some money. Most people need to make money to cover their expenses, especially you just got a new apartment, you just moved to a new place because of this new job, you just celebrated by taking a vacation that you're not assuming you're going to be out of a job anyway. Let everyone know you're looking for work across social media and at social events. I've talked about this in videos. When you're looking for a job, everybody should know. Your hairstylist, your nail person, your masseuse, I don't know, your people that you know and are close with, your friends and family, your neighbor. You just never know who has connections. It's not always really what you know and your skills. A lot of times it's who you can connect with. Can you connect with people? Can you get people to like you? Do you know someone that can vouch for you? Do you have an ally that can, we really are about people. And this is part of why, Michael, I'm saying you have to connect with people. You have to talk to people. Everything can't be done over email. It just can't. Everything can't be done remotely. I think, with the remote work, ideally we're going to have hybrid. Sometimes we're working remotely, sometimes we're working, in person, or we're going in person for certain events or to make a better connection with people. You do make a better connection, in my opinion, at least video, like having face-to-face contact, but especially being directly in a room with people. There's something about that. That's just my 2 cents. But I also do, as someone that works remotely, I see the value of it. Not a lot of the things that we do at work, depending on what you do, isn't people facing in terms of I have to be face to face with you. I'm looking at a computer a lot of times, or I'm on the phone, right? So anyway, side note, what else is she saying in here? Let everyone know you're looking for work. Yep. They're saying word of mouth is still a valuable way to build connections and find new opportunities. Ooh, I have to talk about this too. I'll save that for another video, but there's something else I want to talk about with that. We have a couple of apps that people are using that I'm going to talk about in another video. Let's see. It is 6:30. Let me get off of here. Okay, let me read through this and then we're going to go. So that's what Wolf, the graphic designer, did. She posted about her situation on Twitter, sharing that she was looking for brand or product design work. After a shockingly huge response, she took every respondent up on their leads. She says it was the most important thing she did to build up her network. So that's what she did. 2 years later, Wolf has built a successful freelance career thanks in part to the help and direction she received from strangers on social media. When her offer was rescinded, she says she now makes more than triple what she would have made on Thumbtack, working with clients like Meta, Netflix, and Airbnb. So this happened to her a while back. It can feel like you need to accept the first job someone throws at you, but you don't have to, she says. Figure out how much time you have, essentially how much money, right? Before you have to take an offer. If you have any financial wiggle room, it's worth waiting for another good opportunity. And that's easy to say for people that have savings, right? And you have investment, you kind of calculate it. Like for me, I've calculated and I continue calculating, okay, if I were to hate something and I needed to be like, look, look, y'all, I just can't, especially being a Black woman, because I will say, and some people may not understand this if you're not a woman or if you're not of a certain ethnic group, but that's something you have to think about. How are people going to treat me as a Black woman? Because in the United States and the world, we know that people treat people differently based on how they look. I don't care how many times people say, kumbaya, I don't see color, I don't, whatever. You do. And some people unfortunately, will treat people differently. Once they're in a job, they will treat you differently, right? So I definitely agree. You have to. There is a money aspect to all of this too. When you're making a move with a job, uh, you should be calculating, if I was to leave, how much savings do I have to cover this? And typically it's going to be 3 months at least, 6 months ideally, even better, a year. Okay, so let me get into the comments and we'll get off of here. Exactly, everyone catch me out here with $0. Yes, real brother is in here saying I would a lot would depend on the level of severance. Yes, yes, in terms of the severance pay. Whoa, you all! Thank you for being in here. Please do hit the like button too while you're in here. Thanks for being a part of the conversation, Michael. I like to a phone to gauge a tone and be able to ask specific questions and to make sure there is a human involved. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Digital makes sense. I love talking to people, but either in person or through video means. Phone calls make me anxious. Well, here's something you could do, Michael. If you like video, ask the recruiter or the hiring manager, whoever you're talking to, if you can, as instead of a phone interview, if you can use their video platform, whatever video platform they use, tell them you're more comfortable that way and ask them if they're able to accommodate that. That's an accommodation. Most companies are able to provide reasonable accommodation, and a switch from a phone conversation to a video conversation or vice versa, video to phone, is a reasonable accommodation. Now, somewhere in the process, likely if you're trying to switch from it being a video to a phone conversation, you're likely going to be pushed to have a video conversation because they're doing video because likely they're not in the office or they're not in the place to bring candidates into an office and have you interview face to face. So, anyway, that's what I would recommend. Hello, Jacqueline Sandoval. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Good morning from Philippines. Oh, hey, welcome in. Thank you for being here, especially with our time difference. No, I'm an extrovert. I would love. Okay, gotcha. I gotcha. So yeah, just ask for that accommodation during your interviews is what I would suggest, Michael. A nervous extrovert, Michael. Right. I know that's a little bit. You might be an ambivert, but I think that everyone gets nervous at some time. Some people are nervous with presenting, some people are nervous with writing an email, and it's a lot of different things that people are dealing with. Yes. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, okay. Anna's glamorous face is also about who you can have fun with. What? Okay, we need to block. What is this? Can I block from here? I think I can block this. Hopefully, I'm not blocking Simplicity Digital. What? And here I am reading. I'm like, what is this? Lord. Simplicity Digital says, but I can understand everyone's strengths and weaknesses. Yeah, yeah, Michael will be fine. I don't know, Edward, let me know if I blocked Anna's whatever that was. Listen, we're on a video talking about the job market. How do these bots come in here and just I just don't understand. How is this still happening? YouTube is such a large company. Like, y'all, come on, please. Okay, I blocked it. Okay, cool. Because I'm like, this is not even what we're talking about. This is not at all what we're talking about. Okay, cool. Thank you all. All right, let me see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about in here because what in the world? What in the world? The great job offer take back, what to do if you're next. Let me see what else they're saying. Rethink your career path. Was there anything else? That's all they said? Okay, so this is what I would say. That's all they said in here. That's a shame. So here's what I believe I would do as a recruiter if I was in this scenario. I do agree with immediately one, taking some time to just think about what you want. Take a day. Just take a day to process, okay? Get the emotions out because you're likely going to be upset. Find someone you talk to that you does not, not a past employee or something that you worked with, someone that you can trust, that you can just like, whoo, sigh, get it all out, get the frustration out, get some drinks, whatever you need to do. Like, get all of that frustration, anger out first. That's what I would do first. If you're in this scenario where a company rescinded your job offer, or if you're in a situation of layoff, you got to get those emotions out because I promise you, if you do not take the time to get those emotions out and to vent a little bit, it's likely going to come through at some point as you're searching for a new job. If you decide to go that route, decide if you want a new job, decide if you want to try a new business, decide if you want to do a side hustle, decide on what you want to do, right? Think about your options. Know you have options. Think about that. Next, you need to think about the money. You got to think about the money. They're not really talking about the money in here, which is surprising for Fortune. Do you have savings? Do you have investments? Do you have a 401k? Do you have a business? Do you have other money that's coming in? Do you have loans that you need to pay? What do you have to pay? What is your budget looking like? Did you just go shopping and do you have items that you can return? You need some additional income. Like, realistically, you have to think about your money. Look at it. Look at a budget. If you don't have a budget, put together a budget. Look at your savings, look at your debt, look at all of that, and figure out how much time you have before you need to get something else. Because you don't want to be in a situation that you're just feeling rushed, like you have to find something ASAP. If you don't really need to rush, and you also don't want to feel like, okay, I can take, they're paying me this severance pay for a month. I got time, but you really don't have time. You need to look at the finances. If you're getting severance pay, okay, how can you optimize that pay? You really need to think about that if you're someone that was in this bucket. The money is important, right? Because most of us aren't just working just for solely because the fun of it, right? We're working because we hopefully like what we're doing, but we need to make an income, right? And we don't want to necessarily pursue the headache of starting a business at a given moment, or we need to make money to fund our business or to do whatever we're trying to do. Anyway, so that's what you have to think about too. Got to get that in order to clear your head so you can just, okay, what are my options? How much time do I have? When do I need to get a job? What do I need to do? A side hustle? Can I do a side hustle? Should I start that? That's another option. Next, you need to figure out how you're going to communicate it. I would not say just communicate it immediately, because if you haven't taken that moment to go, whoo, sigh, get it all out, get all the frustrations out, you may communicate it publicly in a way that you actually don't want future employers or other people to even see. That's my feedback there. So you want to actually communicate it in a good way. Have someone else look at your communication. Especially if you're communicating it on LinkedIn or Twitter, public places where people will see it, and you actually want response from recruiters, I would say communicate in a way of like, this is what happened. I was really excited about this job opportunity, right? Unfortunately, the offer was rescinded because of X, Y, and Z. You can put a link to the article that's talking about what happened, whether it's a layoff or, the rescinded offer, if there is one, and talk about the skills that you have. I'm really skilled at X, Y, and Z. There's a link to my resume, or see my resume on my LinkedIn profile, whatever you want to say there, and these are the jobs that I am looking for. Clear communication, nothing bitter. It is what it is, right? This is what's happened. I'm excited to find something great, right? I want to connect with recruiters. Put me in touch with someone if you know of someone hiring in these spaces. Bam. Right? It's short, sweet, to the point, and likely going to get some interest. You can even put some hashtags in your posting. If there's a trend of other people, making the post too, you can see what other people are saying, right? Comment on other people's posts. This happened to me as well. I hope you find something, right? Get some traction so that recruiters and others can see you and see what happened and go, oh, actually, hey, This happened to you, but that's something better. I have something. Let's talk. So they can reach out to you. And this is why I say people need to be in spaces like LinkedIn. You can also use some online apps. I'm going to talk about these apps, but Blind, Fishbowl, there's some other apps that you can use to get insights into other companies and to share, also connect with people. And then from there, you do have to, you should have your resume already put together, but if you need to make adjustments, make adjustments. You should be already in a mode of interviewing. But if you want to do some mock interviews, just to make sure those emotions aren't in there, you're not talking about the company all crazy, do that, right? Do what you need to do. And start applying, start talking, start networking just as you did before to get that job. You already had gotten a job. It's not your fault they were sending the offer. It happened to you, right? And so now you're empowered to say, look, I got a great job. I had other offers. I chose that one. Let's move forward. Were there companies that you were in the process with that you said, you know what, hey, I just got this job. They offered it to me. I'm going to move forward with it. Can you circle back to them? I think they would understand if you were going to have a phone interview with them and it just so happened that you had an offer already. You just got an offer really quickly. I think recruiters understand that. As a recruiter, we understand that. So people that you can circle back with, think about that too. Because that could be something you can they can move on. They get it. They've seen the headlines, talk to them. It could be a match and you move forward in the process too. So that's another thought. And you just move forward in the process. Again, someone in that situation, just think about this. You were able to get a job at what's seen as a really top-notch leader in their space, leader in blockchain. Their startup, it's risky. You took the risk, right? And unfortunately, it didn't work out in your favor, but you're still a great person. You still have the same skills and abilities and, knowledge that you had before that happened to you. And you're ready to bring that to a place that, that is wanting that, that you can thrive in. So that's my take on it. I wish the article had talked more about what you should do in more realistic terms, but they didn't, but that's okay. Because I will talk about it in more realistic terms on what I would do. Let's see. All right, last minute thoughts. Real brother, that's not a bot, too specific what was written, Lord. So that was a real person up in here trying to get trying to derail the conversation. No, y'all, no. Hey, Bern, how are you? I'm doing well. That was an HR director. I hope not. Listen, who knows? Who knows, right? Dr. Cassandra, do you think it's important to own a smartphone? I have an old analog button flip cell phone with no internet. It gives me texts and calls, but I use my laptop for YouTube and Gmail. I've had well, yeah, I mean, I do think it's good to have a smartphone, but if you really don't like them, I don't necessarily think you need to have one. I don't think so. I mean, yeah, if you don't like it or you can't function with a smartphone and you don't think you can learn it, I'm sure you can learn a smartphone. It's really straightforward. But I mean, for YouTube, a camera, computer, I'm sure you're fine. Just anything with a good video quality where people can see you. I've been on some videos where it's just like completely blurry and you can't see the people. People aren't in the video. People are like showing a blank chair or something. I'm like, what's going on in here? Hello? Is this a live chat? Like, it's called live chat, or there's a topic and then there's nothing. So it really just depends on, do what works for you. Dr. Cassandra and my team leader tells me I should use WhatsApp with my cell phone. I don't use WhatsApp. I don't know what purpose you're trying to use it for. I've had a few people ask me about WhatsApp. I don't use it. I don't need to use it. If I needed to use it, I would likely use it, but in my day-to-day life, I don't use it. Let's see. Dr. Cassandra is saying, I just don't know how to use an iPhone. iPhones are so easy to use. You can use it. You can probably learn it, but it is a shift from an Android for sure. And some people just don't like iPhone, and that's okay. You know, some people just don't like it. I like iPhones, but it's because I've been using iPhone for a long time. My brother got me into the iPhone ecosystem, and I've been here ever since. iPhone, iPad, AirPods, MacBook, like it's all team Apple over here, but it wasn't by choice. I used to be Android. Like when I was in college and high school, I had Android. For he actually no. In college, I think at some point during college is when my brother got me into the iPhone thing. He got me an iPod at some point. I think I was in high school or something. I had iPod, but before that I had an MP3. Um, so I don't know. And I didn't have an MP3 for long. It was like I had that for like a second, then got an iPad, iPod, and then I got a whatever phone, and then I had an iPhone. Anyway, okay, I'm trying to get last minute comments. Y'all know I'm hungry. I keep forgetting that I'm hungry because I'm talking to you all, but I'm like, wait, my stomach is like, hey, what's up? What's going on down here? We need some food. Dr. Cassandra says I just carry my computer everywhere. Now that I wouldn't do. I would not do that personally because like some people like to have email on their phone. Some people like to check like I don't know different messenger apps on their phone. For me, for work, I like having my phone because I don't have to be tied to a computer. You know, computers are big, bulky. Like it's fine for a home use or if you're going to a coffee shop, wherever you're going. But just on my day to day, I am definitely an iPhone user. Taylor says the fact that she can't FaceTime me or WhatsApp Messenger is communication problem that is affecting the workflow of the team. I'm taking too long to send attachments. Okay, wait, let me understand this. So, okay, I'm going to reread it. My team leader says, let me pull my, the fact that she can't FaceTime me or WhatsApp Messenger is a communication problem. You can only use FaceTime and WhatsApp Messenger? Or is there no other tool? Is there like a tool that you can use on your computer? Because I do get you want to have FaceTime with people that you're working with, right? And if they're using a messenger system, you should be using it, right? But if you're off work, you would need to be, unless this is an environment where they want you on all the time, or if you're on call or something, right? Which they should be calling you. They should be able to call you if you need to be, online. Anyway, so you're saying it's a communication problem that is affecting the workflow of the team as I'm taking too long to send attachments. So, how long does it typically take you to respond to your team leader and to other people? She said that sometimes she needs me to do something but can't grab a hold of me with the whole brick phone. I feel like companies are low key. Okay, I'm trying to hear what Dr. Cassandra is saying. Hold on, rice and beans. Microsoft Outlook. I mean, Microsoft Outlook. So that's email. Did they use a messenger system? Like Microsoft Teams or something? Because email is not something where people think that you're going to be instantly responding necessarily. If someone's like, hey, I need you right now, it's likely going to be a messenger app, which I'm guessing they're using WhatsApp. I'm really confused. I'm really surprised by that for a company to be using WhatsApp. Or they're calling your cell. Text me. Call my phone, right? But if that's what they're using and that's what's common, I'm fine. I've never had a problem with jumping onto whatever tools the company's using for their messenger system. Since I do have a smartphone, I'll put the app on my phone. So that way, if someone wants to reach me immediately or they just need something really quick that they need to know, even if I'm like out at lunch, I can check it, take a look and say, hey, I'm at lunch, or I'll set up my status. I would set up my status, like for example, on Slack. You can set up your status as you're away at lunch. So they know like probably in 30 minutes to an hour, you're probably going to get back from lunch, right? So that's my process. It sounds like they have an interesting process that you probably just need to talk through how you're going to communicate. And if you are required to have WhatsApp and FaceTime, and that's the tools that they use, um, that's what I would do. But I would definitely have the communication on like, hey, this is my preference. These are my issues with the phone, and find some common ground with your team leader. Like, what can work for both of us? Because it's not that I don't want to be available. It's not that don't want to be accessible and respond to folks quickly, but here are my issues. Like, where can we kind of meet in the middle here? So, come to a place where you're not trying to be difficult, and you want to do your best work. You want to be a team player. You want to do all that, right? But you have constraints, right? You have some constraints around that. And then also, are they going to buy you? Here's something that they could do as a company. I've had companies do this before. When I was with Nestle Purina, they provided a phone for me, a work phone, so that I could be accessible. So are they going to buy you a phone where you can have it? Less companies are doing that now, but that's another option. Okay, let me look at rice and beans comment. I feel like companies are low-key happy about labor shortage. It's one of their biggest expenses, and now finally have a reason the public will buy not to provide it. I don't think companies are happy with labor shortages. I don't. I think companies are happier that the market is softening in terms of it being an employee market. If you think about from a business perspective, if you owned a business, are you going to like your labor costs going up? Right? Because there's a labor shortage. There's less people to work. Are you going to be happy about that because you have to pay people more because there's a shortage? There's less supply and you have this demand? Likely no, because companies typically don't like any of their costs going up. There are whole teams that work to make things more efficient so that they can cut costs in different ways while also being able to provide, the same level of customer support and the same level of whatever product they're putting out and quality and whatnot. So whatever goals they have for their business. Oh my, your mom is in her 70s. I help her with cell phone stuff. Yeah, you might have to get someone to help you download the stuff onto your phone. That could be it too. I get it. I can see the challenge with someone that's not used to a smartphone, but today's world pretty much requires all the apps and instant communication. It does feel like companies want you to respond instantly. But my thing is with email, that's really not what email was set up for. Yes, you're supposed to respond quickly, but I think it's general practice in workplaces to know this is why we have an instant messenger. Like, this is why we don't just use email. It's because we want to do things like chatting with people really quickly of like, hey, real quick, wanted to get this information from you. And then this person responds back as quickly as they can, right? That's just my 2 cents on it. So I'm trying to understand where the issue is coming through, Dr. Cassandra. Hey, Apostle, how are you? Hey, hey, hey. Hopefully you're doing well. See, I keep seeing the chats in here. I'm obligated to respond to the comments. I gotta load up the laptop and all. The only time I see an email is when I check. Okay, that's the problem. And she says the fact that I don't get notifications is a problem. I go hours on end without responding. Okay, so I'm gonna be real and honest with you, Dr. Cassandra. Listen, yeah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work out. That's not gonna work out. Not in today's world. No. A lot of times with email, when I say we don't expect instant, I mean, if I send someone an email, I don't expect them to respond back 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, right? Emails, generally, people are thinking that folks are going to check their email in the morning, at noon, midday, at the end of the day, right? That's general kind of thinking. Some people are constantly checking it, but generally, right, most people are checking it when they log on. They're checking it. Some people may check mid-morning, what's going on email. They see a notification come through that's really important. They may have color coding and different things to highlight if a manager is reaching out to them or whoever's reaching out to them that are high priority. that they're going to instantly respond back to them, right? Generally, though, most people don't need to be responded with instantly, right? So you're checking it morning, maybe mid-morning, definitely around lunch hour definitely before you leave and go to get some lunch. You're checking your email. And then midday, end of day, before you log off, you got to make sure if there's someone that needs to get you. However, the thing with the instant messenger is most people that are like, oh my God, like panicking, oh my God, I need this right now. Or this is just real quick. Or hey, I just want to let you know about something real quick. It doesn't need to be email. They're going to use Messenger. That's my perspective of what I've seen. So I can see the issue that your team lead would have if you're saying the only time you see your emails when you check. Well, my question is, how often are you checking? Do you need to send, if you can't do the notifications, do you need to set up a reminder for yourself on your Outlook calendar? You can do this. Someone can actually show you how to do it. If you want to, I can do it. I might do a tutorial on that. But if you really need it, I don't want to do a tutorial on it, but I can do it if you need me to do it. Um, I'm sure there's probably tutorials on how to do it anyway, but you can set up, reminders for yourself, morning, midday, noon, like every single Monday through Friday, where you remind yourself to check your email, and you have to do it. That's the thing, without having the notifications. Or you talk to IT and set up the notifications on your computer. So the issue really doesn't seem like it's really about having a smartphone and having things on your phone. It sounds like it's just they're struggling with the fact that you're not responding quickly to the emails. Get an understanding on, how quickly you need to respond to things. And you should be checking more, likely, is what I'm hearing. Unless you're checking it, you feel like you're checking it constantly. Obviously, they're not feeling that way. They're feeling like you're not, if you're going hours on end without responding, I think that's important. Or there needs to be a precedent of, hey, if you're sending me an email, I'm not looking because I'm doing X, Y, and Z. The email is really a distraction because I'm doing, I don't know, lab work or whatever you're doing. Call me, right? I will respond if you call me. It sounds like you both just need to talk it out and find a, middle ground. So that way they're happy, they're feeling that you're responding to them accordingly, right? But then also you're comfortable with, if you need to focus on stuff, because I get an email, we can't just sit and look at our email all day. We have to get our work done. But if notifications aren't popping up, or if that's distracting to you, because you have to do, if you're in criminology, you gotta, I don't know, you gotta look at specimens or whatever you need to do, away, or data, or I don't know what field you're in terms of criminology. But yeah, or you might have to you might just have to suck it up and get an iPhone. Or get a smartphone and have someone teach you, see if they have some trainings on mobile phones and different apps and things. See what they have and just, work with them. Say you want to make sure you're doing a great job and you're communicating. Tell them your challenges and figure out a way to get around it. They should be, if they're a good manager, they're a good leader, they want you to succeed, so they're going to help you. Email takes time usually. Yes, each department has WhatsApp group chat. Okay, so it sounds like you're going to have to get WhatsApp, unfortunately. I say unfortunately, I have not used WhatsApp. I'm sure it's fine. I like Facebook. I mean, I'm not on there as much, but I mean, I'm sure it's a fine platform. I just don't use it. I don't have the need to. Let's see. Depends where you are, doctor. If it's in front of your laptop, the time you receive it, then you can see and respond to it. Right. If you stay away from, you'll likely be on your phone. Exactly. All right. Somebody's saying, if I pay one guy $19 an hour instead of two guys, 10% each, I can say I raised wages all while cutting my labor. You're funny. Okay, so I'm gonna get off of here. This was a good conversation. I appreciate you all being here. Do you all think that I should start having chats on Saturdays again? This is later than I planned. I planned on talking at 4. Originally it was like 11, then I changed it to 4, and I pushed it back later because I had something I had to do. And yeah, so anyway, by the time I got home, I had to rush to get to even get on here. So yeah, so let me know if you think this is a good time for us to have these chit chats. Let me know in the comments though if you have last minute thoughts on this Coinbase scenario. Tell me what you would do if a company rescinded a job offer that you were, super excited to start. Tell me what you would do. Provide some tips if you have them, because it may help someone that's going through this scenario right now. And if you happen to be a recruiter watching this like me, there are people that have gotten offer rescinded. So there's some lists out there that you can find the people in it. You can also look at LinkedIn to find them too. The weekends are better for me. All right. So Edward has answered the question, I guess, for everybody. So I appreciate you, and I hope everyone is hitting the like button, of course. We were shut down for the other video that I had planned. So I hope folks didn't go straight to that one. And I'm hoping the audio quality is a little better. Ooh, I can't talk. It's a little bit better this time around. But we had a good conversation, I think. I appreciate you all being here. This is a tough time for some folks. Tough time for all of us with gas prices and costs just going up in general. And we do seem to be shifting markets. In my view, we're shifting from a employee market to a more balanced market, and possibly to an employer market, depending on how things move forward. So that's a good thing for some, not a good thing for others, right? So I appreciate you. Real brother says, I sound like a dream now. Okay, well, thank you. I think that's a lot better than me sounding like a nightmare. I appreciate that. With that, I'm going to end it. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. I will start popping up on Saturday since Ever says it's a better time for him. And with that, I will see you all next time. Bye, lovely people.